Hey everyone, I'm Tim, this is the Silver Coder, and in today's video, the one I promised from the last one, where I was going to show you a string list being used as a dictionary, so basically looking at name value pairs here. And here is the end result. You can see that I've got some keys on the left hand side. Right hand side you can see the name and the value here, and then some functions on the top and down the bottom here to illustrate the methods contained within a string list. So the methods that we're going to be demonstrating are loading, saving, clearing, deleting, adding an entry, updating an existing entry, and again finding an entry, all within the context of a dictionary. So perhaps the best place to start would be to, well, let's go to what happens when the program starts. So initially you can see that some fields here have values in them, and so what we'll do is we'll just clear those here. I'm just going to disable my save entry button. Now that particular button is underneath the value field, which I will use after the add or update button clicks. Here is my dictionary, and I don't have any dictionary name, which is going to be essentially will be the file name. And then finally my edit mode will be either nothing, update, or add/insert. So when the user goes to click on the add button, so we'll assume that you've run the program once, you put some entries in there and so on, and they've been saved. So we will use the file open dialog here, and if the user does select an existing dictionary, by the way, there is no error checking here for formatting, etc. What it will do is then clear the current items from the list box, and then it will load the items from the selected file. Now, because in a string list where we are using name value pairs, remember that it is going to be name equals value on each as we go down. So we can then get the name of each item, and we're going to store that in L key, and then we're going to put that, add that into the list box control that we have here. I could have put that value here into here, but I'm just trying to make it as obvious as possible, what's happening. So if we wanted to go look at the save button now, so we're going to go in order of the buttons, going across. If we have a name in our dictionary, then we will just overwrite the contents with the items in our dictionary. But if we do not have a file name or dictionary name in this instance here, what we are going to do is to redirect this to the save as click, and when we do that, it brings up the save as type dialog, and then it will then store the selected file name here, and then save the contents of our dictionary to file. So now we've got a file on our disk which is contains a set of name equals value pairs. The next thing will be what happens when we want to clear the list. So essentially we've got a string list with multiple items in it, and therefore the keys list here will have a set of values in it. So what we want to do now is to basically we're just going to clear the items from our dictionary, and because we're going to be doing that, we may as well just clear that list as well. There's no point in trying to update that from that, because that's going to be empty anyway. The delete button, so what we'll do here is, let's suppose you've got some entries in your dictionary and you've got a couple there for whatever reason you want to remove. So we're going to work our way backwards in the list here, and if an item in the list box is selected, we're going to get the value, or sorry, I should rephrase that. Get that string and store that from the list box and store that into key. We will work out where that item is in our dictionary, and if it is in our dictionary, we can then remove it from the dictionary based on LPOS. I is the index of the item in the list box, and we can then delete that item as well. If we had multiple items selected, then each one of those would be deleted. By the way, again, I could possibly save it at this point here, but I'm not really. We're just demonstrating each function again. So now we're getting to a couple of, let's say, a little more interesting functions here. So first of all, we're just going to look at the add button, and so we set what mode we're going into. So we're going to say we're going into add mode. Then we will clear the current contents of the key field and the memo value field. We enable the save entry button, and then we will set the focus to the key field. Now the reason, just so you're aware, the reason why we're going to clear the contents is because if I have an item selected already, I'm on the right hand side, I'm going to see what its values are, so I want to make it as easy as possible for the user to be able to perform the action, or be able to type away an entry to add into the dictionary. In a similar way then, when we want to do an update here, I'm just going to set the mode to update, make sure that this button here is enabled, and then we'll put the focus into the value field, because all we want to do is update the contents of that value field. So when we want to now, let's say, insert or modify a value in the dictionary, ultimately we're just going to update the value here, but what this code here will also do is if the key value is not in the dictionary, then it gets inserted into the dictionary by the underlying string list. Here we get the L key will contain the value from the edit key field, and value will contain the text from the memo value field. Now, if we were in, let's say, insert mode, then we also want to append the key value that was added by the user to the bottom of the list box here. And like I said, here is where where the dictionary itself is updated, and then we will basically reset these fields here. With the find action, all we are going to basically be doing here is using the contents of the find field, or the value which the user entered into the find field. Now we're going to see if that value is contained in the items of the list box, and if it is, we will then move our cursor to that position. What will also then happen, so let me just run the program. We may as well load in our dictionary here, and if I type in here CD and then click find, you can see that it also updates these fields here. So this action here will then trigger the on selection change here, and that will then display the name and the value from the dictionary into those fields there. And obviously, because we are good programmers, when the form gets closed or destroyed, in the form destroy code, we will then free that list, and in freeing the list, all the subsequent items are removed. So it's a rather simple program in terms of the functionality, but it does show you a bit about what's possible with a string list. So what have we taken out of this video here? Well, first of all, we can construct a string list by using tstringlist.create. When we no longer need it, we can free it, which will then reclaim that memory. I can then, let's go over to here, I can then update or add a value, I can also now remove or delete an item from the string list based on some position. We can also remove all of the elements from the string list. We can use the save to file method to save the contents of a string list to file. And finally, we can also load the from a file, and because we are looking at name value pairs, there are special properties or underlying methods whereby we can look for the where we can get the name, or we can get the value based on the key and do something with those. Now this is only a small insight into, or small look at what's possible with a string list. We haven't really touched on the, and I should say the count. We've also looked at using that one. You can see here under the load, we are also using the count property to determine how many items there are in the dictionary to add into the list box. I forgot about that one. But we've pretty much used all of these methods here. Finally, when we go and look at the strings class here, you will note there are a lot more functions or properties or methods available which can be used on items in a string list. For example, there is a you could convert from a string list to a dynamic arrays. There are functions to add pairs, etc. You can deal with comma separated values. You've got filters, and a whole bunch of other functions which can be used to make life easier for you. You can also reverse the list if you wanted. So plenty to consider when you are playing with the string list. It may not be suitable for every instance. Have a look at it, play with it, use it, and you become a lot better programmer in knowing how it works, and looking at the underlying code. So until next time, happy coding, and I'll see you then. Bye.